can't look in the eyes of my brother without shedding a tear for my brother. I really wanna try for my brother.
Yo! Are y'all sick of looking into my mouth yet? Hope not. Right? Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to another week of the InforMILLy Honest Podcast. We want to thank you for joining us. If it's your first time, know that we are four brothers. We're missing one today. Our heart goes out to him. He's not going grieving. He has to go to work. But he's here with us in spirit. Marco, the God. We want to shout out to him because he couldn't join us today, but he's always here in our hearts and in our minds. You know. So we want to thank y'all for joining us. We are four brothers, different mothers and daddies, technically, unless you believe in like Adam and Eve, and then we all cousins. It gets weird after that, right? Or actually Noah, because everybody from Adam and Eve died. Yeah, we're not here to get biblical. We pride ourselves on having the utmost of candid conversation, rooting all of our exchanges in being forthright, vulnerable, and most of all, honest. Fellas, what's new? How you doing?
Well, doing pretty okay. Yeah, just trying to survive and see what happens with the virus. There's always some news on that. Election season's coming around. Trump's trying to not have the election, so
yo,
we'll see.
He really think that work?
Wait, what?
Did he really think that was going to work?
Oh yeah. It's like I just try to pretty much every time he says something, I try to imagine what people would say if Obama said the exact same thing.
Obama said that,
and I'm not even saying that like I am I'm not saying I'm praising Obama or anything, but I do know that if Obama was to ever say maybe we should cancel the election, people would call him the Antichrist and everything.
He might have got shot. He might have got shot at something like that.
Yo, it's purely a thing of, and I feel you. I do that in my head sometimes as well, only because if it's anything that irritates me more, I can't think of it right now, than hypocrisy.
Yeah.
And I don't get how these political pundits or what have you can just be so hypocritical.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that. There's a clip that's going around that the folks at the Daily Show put together of
is it the one that's Sean Hannity?
Well, yeah, it's Sean Hannity. It's all the
I saw that one, yeah.
People.
Oh, okay.
But he's the thumbnail, I should say. But it's
gotcha.
pretty much how in 2014 they were against federal force, I guess, against that situation that happened in, it's one of those Western states. I want to say it was Oregon for some reason, where like those guys. Bundy, I think his last name was Bundy.
Oh, in Texas? Was it Texas?
No, I don't think it was Texas. I think it was Oregon, or
it was like a standoff against the federal agents, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't Waco though. But
it wasn't
Waco.
Yeah. It was like Ted Bundy or something like that. Is it Ted Bundy?
No, that's the serial killer.
That's a serial killer.
No kid, that's a serial killer. I was like, I knew one of the Bundy.
I know what you're talking about though.
But it was like some guy and his son and their friends or something. And I guess all these Fox News people were there saying, well, you don't need federal agents. It's not that serious. Even though I think they took over some federal building. It wasn't like a state capitol or anything. It was like I don't know, some nature building or whatever. But
right.
But like regardless, the whole point I'm making is like they were completely against federal agents at that point, and now they're completely for it. So it's just interesting. And Republican conservative hypocrisy is the most amazing thing to watch on the planet.
and here's what we say: we don't think that liberals and what the left doesn't do this.
Yeah,
they definitely do.
It's important to be clear, on that.
Like to be clear, it happens on both sides. But the the blatant disregard for doing it when there's so much evidence.
Yeah, that's yeah. Like, you know how cameras work, right? Like they don't
it's
memory and storage and all that.
It's not even just to think about, like, you know how cameras work. You work in media.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this shit is just fucking baffling. Aaron, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Doing all right these days. Shit, just trying to be wise, wear this damn mask. You know? Be smart about my interactions, and I'm sipping on this wine again. So I'm hanging in there, man. Hostess with the mostest. What about you?
Nothing's really going on this end. Yeah, it's just work, man. It's all work stuff. We're doing a couple, we being like the dance organization that I work for, are doing a couple of video projects. We just wrapped our summer intensive today, for the pre-professional program anyway. The elders program ends tomorrow night or tomorrow morning. Beyond that, my primary irritation has to do with the school organization that I work for. Not at the collegiate setting. I'm gonna be real specific without actually saying who they are. The one we all attended, that I'm employed here, because apparently, according to the district, they are trying to get teachers to go back in, but let the students learn virtually. In which I'm like, why are you making me waste gas to do something that I can do in my house?
Yeah. I don't quite understand that. I'm not understanding what did anybody ask? Why is this set up this way?
I wasn't able to be in the meeting, and I know my department head did pose questions like that to the principal, and he didn't seem to have any answers. And so I don't know who necessarily's fault it is. I just know in real life it makes no sense whatsoever I can't even speak for all the other teachers. I know we barely have any internet in the dance studio. We spent the last year and a half or two trying to get them to get Wi-Fi in the studio, in which they haven't. And so I'm like, do you expect we just found out they're saying they're going to give like school issue devices or whatever. But I'm like, you want me to sit in an empty building for 8 hours?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm fine. Especially because me working with all the space of a dance studio for kids who got to, try to make sure they don't kick their mama's favorite vase over makes no sense. So we all might as well just go ahead and use our confined space and cater to it that way. And so all that is stupid, and they don't pay all of the 35 cents that they pay me is not worth the gas that it's going to take to do the back and forth just to be in that empty studio for hours on end. Not to mention, especially in the winter, they be acting like heat don't exist.
Yeah.
So
remember that.
This is true. This is true. Man, yeah, they're Atlanta's trying to figure out, obviously every city, but I've been hearing rumblings about Atlanta also trying to figure that whole schooling situation out. Like, how soon is too soon to go back to school in the way it used to be. The administration is trying to push people to start earlier and like go back to the way things they were, which a lot of governors are like, yo, that makes no sense. So then a week or two into it or a month into it, we have to leave and figure something out because it starts spreading. The virus starts spreading. And figure it out when it happens. It's like, well, maybe we should have a plan.
Go ahead, Adam.
I was just like, if it was 1979 and internet didn't exist, I could see like this being a hard decision. But I do understand that there are people that don't have internet and that can't afford the luxury of internet, and I get that. But regardless of that, I mean, most people do. So I
Yeah.
feel like virtual learning is the way to go. The MLB, the NBA are billion-dollar giants, and they can't contain this
Mhm.
virus. There's
Right.
the Marlins down in Miami. Half of their team has the virus now. I think 2 players from yeah, I forgot, but there's some other baseball team where 2 players have it now, which is only a matter of time if somebody else get it. I'm assuming. Uh, the the NBA, they just started playing back. What, yesterday? I think, or maybe
Something like
the
that, a
night
couple days
before.
ago.
From my understanding, no one has it, but it's like it's only a matter of time. Someone is going to get it.
Someone's gonna get a hoe.
Yeah.
Someone's and what was it? One college, they made all their athletes come back already, right? Because they're talking about opening the campus up in the fall, and
that's even worse than regular public schools.
and it's not fully, but it's for some, and especially I know they're probably doing it for the international students to some degree. But what was it? The athletes came back, and three of them tested positive or something like that. Less than a week later, 30 of them tested positive.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Makes perfect sense.
It's just like it's just such a. I mean, you spoke about the international students. Like, I'm feeling for them too, because I hear the administration is trying to like pretty much say if they're not in school, then they can't stay in the States.
Yep.
And then, like, obviously the universities are suing them because a lot of their money, a lot of their students are international students.
Yeah.
And just like why make this situation even more sucky for these students? It's already a crazy situation for everybody, but to do some fucking rule like that, you're making it even more like you're making people's life much harder for no reason, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Just just because you're mad you didn't get your way.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Speaking of like the Trump and all them, it's like, okay, so he believes that the virus and everything that's going on is too dangerous to have, elections, and they don't want to do like the mail-in stuff and all that. So the election is we can't do the election essentially because of the virus, but we can send kids to school.
Complete contradiction.
Yeah, and we can play close contact sports like basketball and football. It's just crazy to me. Like I wish I could understand it, but this is one I don't even have a theory for this one. Like I
wonder if he's scared. If he's worried about
Trump.
Yeah,
he doesn't care. He doesn't because it doesn't affect him. So for him,
no,
whatever.
I mean about becoming president again.
Oh no, I think he wants to stay president, which is why he wants to postpone the election. That's a dictator.
Oh, no, yes, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I just didn't say it right. I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what always baffles me is people who still support him through it, as if you don't get the hypocrisy.
Yeah, like Trump. Like I get Trump is crazy and he's an individual. Whatever.
Sure.
I don't understand the millions of people that continuously support him. That's what throws me off even more than Trump himself.
Right.
I
agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
So before we spend all day talking about that motherfucker, let's hop into our opener.
Yeah, let's spend a little bit of time on our topics.
Yeah, let's hop into our opener. So a meme came across Adam. That's going to be like I'm pointing in this direction and I don't know where I really am on the recording screen. So yeah, you're gonna see a meme in the middle of the screen, and I'm gonna read it off. Okay, you got two options: it's red pill, blue pill, some Matrix type shit. Okay, 011, 011, 011. Okay, so red pill, you get to restart your life at the age of 10 with all the knowledge you have now, or blue pill. You jump to 45 years old with 50 mil in the bank.
Easy, son. Easy. Give me that. Okay. Give me that mil. Yo, give me that 45. Yo, give me that 50 mil in the bank. Easy.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay. Like what? Like say your reasons.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of feel like if I jumped back to 10 years old with even the knowledge I have now, something might change. Like I'm making on the idea that like the things that got me to where I am were helpful. You know, were fruitful, and it kind of drove me steered me in a particular direction. And now that I got said knowledge, I feel like it's very little. Now that I got said knowledge, I'm ready for that 50 million.
Adam, what you going with?
So when I first read it, like when I first just came across, I was like, you know what? I think I went back and forth just thinking about it. So I'm gonna say I'm making this difficult. I'm probably gonna take the money as well.
Yes, sir. Hold on, let me get my Snoop Dogg on real quick.
Yo, most hilarious battle yet. Snoop versus
I didn't even see it, but
it was.
Oh my God.
I'm sure it's on YouTube though.
It was.
It's on YouTube and the Versus IG channel.
They were giving each other fucking annihilators and shit. It was hilarious.
Yo, the first 3 minutes is the most hilarious niggadom I have seen. Here's a sentence that I've been saying to my girl since. Yo, you want these strips, nigga? Because
no, I got some annihilators.
He's like, I got some annihilators. I'm gonna stay with it. Like Snoop literally said, "Yo, man, I'm gonna give me something to eat to balance this drink right here. Oh, nigga, we got some chicken strips. You want some strips, nigga? That shit right there." And just
He's like, "Yo, give me some now." He's like, "Yo, give me one."
We will be doing nothing. I'll just be walking in the house and I'll be like, "Yo, you want these strips, nigga?" Like that is. I cried because I laughed so hard. That was funny as shit.
It's Snoop's dancing, bro. It was
Snoop C walking like his knees are still young. Like
that was a great one, man.
But Adam, you were saying I didn't mean to tell you, but you were saying
no.
You were
first
money.
Yeah. So I wouldn't go back because like I'm like, man, if I go back, I could do this and that. It's like, okay, even if I didn't go back, I mean, I might make a little bit of money, but I still don't think I have garnered that knowledge to make 50 million.
Yeah.
Now if you're talking about what I know, as in like, can we go back and like time travel, like so we know who won all these Super Bowls and we can bet like so. And I think too hard on these things. So now, if that was the case, now let's go back. But
hold on, man. Let me change
if it's just purely like,
but
if it's purely like just based on what we know about the world, what we know about being an adult, I feel like I've learned enough, and I can apply that to the last half of my life at the age of 45 and $50 million. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, and 50 million is like No, I was gonna say in 50 million. I mean, obviously, unless you're an idiot, I mean, you essentially don't have to work for the rest of your life unless you're just a fool. But
I'm gonna tell you exactly what I'm doing. I'm at the holler at Waka Flocka, figure out get some financial literacy, and then I'm straight, son. I'm straight after that.
No disrespect to Waka. All the people you could go to, you go on the Waka for financial literacy.
He's especially he's the homie
21
now,
Savage.
Man. He's the homie now.
Yo, so Adam, I'm with you. I go back and forth with this as well because I'm neurotic as fuck. And so a daily thing for me is going over actions of the past and seeing all the other options that I could have taken, etc. And I'm with you on that as well. Then I'm like, all the bullshit I've gone through, the life that I live have led to who I am now. And I do enjoy current me. So I get both of those sides. And I also got to consider, is it a butterfly effect thing, or do I just get to go back and only things that change are the shit that immediately affect me? Because if I do get to just know how shit's going to happen and nothing else is really going to be different beyond me betting on some Super Bowls, being able to prevent coronavirus, invent Napster, like,
yeah, good one.
Whatever that is, then I'm fine with going back. And here's the other thing that's wrong with going back to 10 with the knowledge I have now, because there's an anime called Erased that actually does that. Where this guy goes back, gets sent back in time because he has this power that he has no idea what it is, but it helps him to prevent like bad shit from happening. And so if I go back to 10, do I have 10-year-old hormones with 31-year-old knowledge? Because that makes me a pedophile.
Wait a minute. Is it go back to 10 or does it go back 10 years?
I think it's go back to age 10.
That's what it was? Age of 10.
Age of 10.
Oh, I completely missed that. I thought it was go back 10 years.
Oh, at 21? Oh, I would be completely fine. But because I want to believe that I now have better keys to the game, and how I know how to not be an asshole, how to kind of be ahead of the curve as far as not taking advantage of women, but being able to approach women in a way that probably I would end up the same way, being a halfway decent person and being shot on for not being a thug that'll choke you in the middle of a parking lot. Gary. But
I wasn't ready for that one. Let's go.
I don't want to have 31-year-old attraction at 10 years old.
See, man. See, that's why. Look, this whole going back to age 10, it requires too many questions. It gets too muddy. It gets too muddy. It gets too muddy. Like, you just take that 50 million, you straight. You know
but the thing is, you don't know how you got that 50 million.
That's true.
You could be trafficking drugs, people. You could be doing all sorts of shit to get that 50 mil. Like, they didn't say where that 50 mil came from. Yeah. They said, "Oh, you got 50 mil in the bank." Now, if it's in the bank, what bank is it? Is this Chase? Is this some bitch in Switzerland? What, like,
that's very true. Yo, time to invest, time to diversify.
Because I'm like, if it's 50 million in my Bank of America account, that must mean that it's okay with the government. Because if you don't put 50 mil of drug money in the bank, because the IRS gonna be like this. Where the fuck that come from?
Yeah, I don't trust all the money in one place either.
Yeah,
that's too risky. Way too risky. Especially with like our economy and shit, and you never know what the fuck's gonna happen. You lose all that. You get a check for $45. Yeah, with a big sorry on it.
Yeah, and so I think both have too many consequences. This is going to be unanimous only because I can assume if I got 50 mil, I have some kind of financial literacy to go, all right, I know how to keep this money making more money.
Yeah, exactly. And I also kind of I'm going with the hopes that I have grown to be less like we spoke about earlier, less of an asshole, less of like a fool, a fool in the sense of like, when I get this money, I'll make decisions that will also be helpful to others too. Like, knowing that I've been blessed with all this, I'll be able to I'm gonna make better decisions for not just myself. Also, I'm banking on that. Also, I'm definitely I'm gonna do some foolish shit. I'm gonna spend like $1 million on some foolish shit, just a little bit. But like the rest,
I mean,
I'm gonna be helping other folks too.
If you got 50 mil, you can spare a meal over something stupid.
Yeah,
because
go ahead. Okay, I was just gonna say, obviously I'm counting on the fact that I didn't do some terrible shit to get it. But even if that's the way it ended up, I can hopefully redeem a little bit of that by like spreading that money to like genuine organizations or that are actually helping people. So, and that's all right. I
got. Because you want to. I just wonder, like, if I'm waking up at 45, does that mean like I wake up at 45 in my current apartment?
But now
question. I got it. But like, am I in some large mansion and then some wife that I never planned on having? walks up to me and is like, "Hey, baby."
But yo, with her titties out. Yo, with her titties out. Let's just be real.
Sure. I wasn't going to go that route. It was probably going to be something about the royal penis is clean, Your Highness. But
okay. I was about to say, Silk Road with her titties out. Silk Road with her titties
out. but I don't even want to make that. I don't even want to fully make that joke either, just because there's no servitude. By all means, equality. Because she's like royal penis. I'm like, oh, let me polish off that clitori. And so, but
because you like things that taste good. I feel you. Me too.
Feature lady pineapples, fellas. I want to know what the circumstances are. I just think both questions are too vague. I'll go with the 50 mil because I think that has a little more wiggle room. And I tell you, I don't. I barely like niggas now, and so I don't. You know how I don't want to go through puberty again. Ugh, that sounds horrible.
Mm-hmm. Not fun being rejected, man, especially at that age.
I mean,
ain't fun being rejected.
That's 95% of my childhood. So
no, I wasn't saying wasn't directing that towards you. I was saying like I feel you.
Oh no. I know. It's literally
sucks, especially when I'm super horny and they still say no. It's like, damn, you have it right, but come on.
Look, most this is me during all of my this is all of my pubescent years is girl dancing, me gently placing my hand upon her person as to not impose, her turning around and me going making this gesture, you could do worse. So yeah, I'll go with the 50 mil. I don't know what 45 is gonna look like. If I live to be 45, I'll be surprised, to be honest. So we'll see.
Yo, this podcast is gonna be all we 45. What up, dog? We about to be we will all have 50 mil in the bank. What's up?
Hey, I want to believe that too. If we're still podcasting 45 and our following is the same,
I mean, it's gonna be you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna if that is the case, I'm gonna take that other fucking pill and go back to 10 and start that shit all over again. We still got 140. Look, man. Hey, I do have a quick question though.
What's up?
Yeah, a question came to mind when you mentioned you don't know if you're gonna wake up in like a big ass mansion or not. Quick question: would you guys prefer a smaller house and a lot of land, or a big ass house and like a decent yard? I feel like I know the answer, kind of, but I'm curious.
Neither. I think it's a thing of let me not even say neither. I don't have a preference because I don't care.
Word. That's a solid answer.
it's literally a thing of like I think both of them have consequences, which to me I can't bring myself to care about. I literally told my brother, if you ever hear me talk about chandeliers, shoot me, because I think my life has taken a horrible turn. Because I just can't care.
So you're good with like an apartment or a condo forever, which I'm actually good with that too. Actually, I'm actually okay.
If I'm owning some land or something like that, if I own a house, cool, I'm good with that. But I think it then turns into that thing of like, yo, I don't ever care to really learn how to maintenance my own shit. I'll tell you right now, if that makes me less of a man, then I will say that I don't care about doing shit with my hands. I really don't. If my toilet gets a leak, I'm like, let me call somebody. I don't know. And
I feel that.
And so when you're like a smaller house with a lot of land, I'm like, who the fuck is tending that land? I got to find landscapers, and do we have crops? I don't.
I feel you on that. I feel you. I got you. That's a good point.
As much as I love the smell of freshly cut grass, I can't care.
Gotta diversify, man. Keep some of that marshland, plant a bunch of trees, turn some of it into a forest so you don't have to do shit to it. Less maintenance.
And see, the thing is, you like turn it into a forest, and you know what comes with forest? Insects. like
animals and all kinds. Yeah, I feel you.
like I'm not inviting tree spiders and foxes to my doorstep. Like I don't care and I don't want it.
Yeah,
like in real life, if I could get me one of those like one of those old school lofts that's like a penthouse on the top of some building.
Yeah.
And live off of like someone's beach coast, off of like, I don't know, Durban, South Africa or something like that, I'll be good with that. I don't know that I really need the land. I'm fine to own some property or know, like, maybe if I own this building and we rent out places in the building, or it's a hotel with my penthouse on top or something like that, then cool, let's do that. But
okay, penthouse that would probably be shit. On some Bruce Wayne shit. I feel you get the penthouse.
Sure. I would, if I had some idealistic shit, like if I was wealthy, then I would probably go for that route of, I kind of care more about the what's accessible to me than what I can facilitate.
Got you. So yours is definitely minimal effort, but still efficient.
Oh yeah, I'm lazy as shit.
I feel you. No, it's a lot of fucking work that comes with like having land. You're right. Like depending on what you want to do with it, it's a lot of fucking physical work.
Yeah.
Adam, what you think, bro?
Well, for me, I would require a house. I gotta have it. Now, I never care for a big house. I mean, I guess everyone has a idea what a big house is. But for me, ideally, like if I had a house that was about 2,500 square feet. I mean, that's bigger than average.
Yeah.
But I still don't consider it a big house. Like it's not a mansion or anything. As far as land goes, now I don't want acres and acres and acres of land, but I would like the fact for me to get to a neighbor's house, it would take me a few minutes walking to get there. I wouldn't mind that. If it took me
same thing.
If it took like 2 minutes, nah, that's too short. If it took me 4 minutes to get to my neighbor's house on foot, that's a good amount of time.
All right, so you're talking like 2 or 3 acres in between you and the neighbor. Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then with that, I would want like a big barn or something like that, where I could keep all of my tools and it'd just be a epic work area, whatever. And I
wonder that
whatever I wanted.
That's why I didn't want to assume, but I kind of felt like that's where you'd go. I was wondering what building or what barn like structure you would have to get all your, to get your projects going.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you could build a big ass robot in that motherfucker.
That's funny.
That's all. On a segue with the Gatling gun.
Adam, I gotta tell you the truth, even though I know that this isn't like what your routes have been, what are routes of like of handwork, I don't have a better way to put that, or artistic expression with building shit has been. But every time they get to that part of the episode of Forged in Fire, where they're like, "Oh yeah, we're sending them to their home forge," and you see someone with like a power hammer and shit in their garage, I'm like, I think Adam's the only person I know that could have this.
One day, one day it's gonna happen. Like I'm right now, I'm formulating how the heck do I get into knife making at the cheapest way possible. I'm trying to figure it out. It's gotta happen. I think out of all the things that I've made in my life and all the ventures I've gone down, I feel like that's going to be the one. Whenever I start, but that's going to be the one that I really like. That's going to be the one. Like I just feel it.
And truth be told, man, I love blades, and that's probably the only thing that I would like want to learn how to do is for real make them.
Yeah.
And I just wish I could draw so I could design them. But I will send you, once you got that down in the bag, I will gladly send you pictures so you can make shit for me and pay you exactly how much it's worth.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because I'm trying to get this evil Green Ranger sword, and nobody got it.
Yeah, man. Yo,
Aaron, how about you?
Hold on real quick. That shit reminded me of like, I think it's about time for us to collab on something, like some type of project, some type of artistic venture. It's been some years. I think it's time. I think it would be a good idea. I think the last time we did something like that, it was like, this is a random memory of me being in like St. Joseph College. We were all like, I think you all came, and then we were like doodling on the sketchbook I had or something, doodling AMP designs or some shit. We filled up like 3 pages. I might still have them. That was the last time we actually remember.
I think it was me and you. I don't know if Marcus or Josh was there, but I do remember that though. And we were like up to like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning just drawing. So.
Because I had the keys to the art lab. I had the keys to the art building.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, man. Filled up like 3 pages and shit. It shit felt good, man.
Nice.
So I'm just putting that bug in your ear. I'm gonna leave that to you. Just putting that bug in your ear though, man. I think it's about time. It's been years. Might even been 10 years or some shit.
You know, before we move on, so. I of course we gonna trail off everywhere. Why does that expression exist?
What?
That's a horrible sentiment.
I'll put that bug in your ear.
Right? What? Who wants that?
Idiom?
Is that what that's considered? An idiom?
I would never want a bug in my ear, actually.
It's one of those things. Like, well, even the one I think Michael Che has a bit about it. This one really screws the pooch, and you're like, yo, I don't know that fucking a dog is a mistake. Like, I don't think those two things correlate. But okay, you said it, and it made me go like, why would you do that? Please don't put bugs in anyone's ear.
I actually really, really, really don't like that sensation. So maybe I choose I genuinely dislike that sensation of mosquitoes. Yeah. Shit bugging in my fucking ear. But I did want to say that, man, because I have been thinking about it actually last week. I was like, it's been years since we actually collabed and did anything. You know, I don't even care what it is, bro. We just start on something. I think it'd be dope. I'm excited. Right. So,
well, Aaron, I want you to give your thoughts on that.
Yeah. Mine is, I could definitely do the big house and small yard for sure. Just because some part of me, I think some part of me thinks, like the bougie part of me thinks that mansions are dope as hell. I've seen such really cool technology and stuff in mansions that like it seems that only people who are richest, who are wealthy, seem to have access to. So some part of me loves that idea, but I think that ultimately, 9 times out of 10, I'd go for the small house, bit more land, easy. Just because I just love land. Like, I mean, you know, you guys know about my aunt and uncle having like, I've seen what 16 acres can be. So just imagine like 50 or so. Actually, I wouldn't even know what to fucking do. At that point, you have to just plant a bunch of trees and stuff and let half of that or more just be forested so you don't have to do any maintenance on it. To like save yourself some time, like in energy, man. That shit gets crazy at some point. So.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely doing the land. And just I'm a big advocate for folks who want to kind of minimalize building and like development, like kind of preserve. I think it would give me the ability to preserve a big portion of that land for just nature itself that couldn't be built on. So,
right.
Yeah. Plus, I'm like Adam. I want it to be a good. I'm a lengthen that to like 10 minutes before I see my neighbor. You know? Yeah. Yo, but then it gets tough. It's like, well, where's the nearest hospital? If I'm assumingly that far out in the boonies.
Yep.
So, then it gets tough.
Because then you always gotta when you hear about like people who get hurt all the way out in the boonies, then they gotta like get helicoptered in. And
I don't live that far away from people or stuff. Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is like I'm gonna have that 50 million and still have this small house, big yard. You know what I'm saying? So I could just fucking build a goddamn hospital 10 minutes away. I'm kidding.
I don't know. We need more than 50 mil.
Yeah. I'm just talking.
Definitely gonna do It's only gonna have one room in it just for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go broke as soon as I have to fucking fill that helicopter. I'm gonna go broke.
So let's go ahead and use that as not really, but a segue into our full subject. I don't know about y'all. I'm very personally fed up with internet movements that start out with good intentions or are created with good intentions, but get co-opted into bullshit. Or not even fully bullshit, or just bullshit adjacent things. Okay.
Yeah.
So the primary example this is going to be toward is the challenge accepted in an IG movement, which started out, in case you did not know this, I am glad to see that more people who are just now doing it or are doing follow-ups are getting into the real reasons why it got started. But if you have been looking through your IG feed and you see a lot of lovely pictures of your friends and family that are women in black and white with just the caption "challenge accepted," no context, no other follow-up, no hashtag beyond women supporting women, which is all great. I agree. I'm glad to see however passive embracing people can do toward each other. That's great. Then you find out it was a campaign because apparently there is a widespread epidemic of women being murdered in Turkey. And so they were putting these they were putting black and white pictures of these murdered women up every day to show that another woman has been murdered. And so femicide, i.e. the murder of women, is a really big issue going on in Turkey right now. And somehow, as that information was traveling over here, someone went, okay, how about we just make this like a love fest, So this seems a little heavy. Let's make it a little lighter. And I think that, and so while I'm glad it didn't get completely stupid like the whole Blackout Tuesday bullshit, where people just put up black boxes and didn't actually do any of the follow-up, like actually making sure that black voices were elevated, that protesters and revolutionary organizations were being elevated during that time. They just put up the black box so they didn't appear racist or other bullshit. And so there's this thing that keeps on happening that I it's irritating. It's irritating because that thing had great intentions, but people don't know how to do follow through. They just want to kind of hop along. They just want to kind of hop on it without actually doing the slightest bit of research.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Were you done or?
I don't know.
It's all good. Yo, we're vibing.
Yeah, it's literally a thing of I was cool with it. I'm not that what I think really matters in regards to women supporting other women and sharing these photos. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. I guess this is the thing. But then you find out what it was really about, and you're like, yo.
Yeah. For me, the thing that that's the thing that frustrates me the most about it is that there's probably an actual example of this, but say there isn't. If the black community in America created this thing, regardless of the topic, it doesn't even matter what the topic is.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, we're gonna put this out there, and then others, regardless of the color of their skin, started taking that thing and changing it to fit their own. We would be heated, without a doubt. we would be extremely mad. And I feel like that's kind of what was done with this. Now, granted, it wasn't. I'm not saying black people took the Turkish people and did the thing. It's been a whole Western world thing in general, but it's like, and we took that and then made it. I mean, granted, it could have been worse. It could have been, both intentions were good, but it still is like that's their thing though, and it's. I feel like they literally could have just created their own just a completely new thing.
Yeah.
And nobody would have been upset. And I'm not saying I'm not even saying I'm upset now, because like I said, it could have been worse. For me, it's unfortunate, and more so because people don't even see how hypocritical this thing could have been. Like kind of like what I was what I was saying before. If this was a black thing, and then white folks started saying challenge accepted, and then started posting photos of whatever, we would be mad, and rightfully so. But the thing I really want to read is, so last night I was making myself upset by reading comments on social media. So I was on
that's always a unfortunate hole to go down.
Yeah. So I was on the great DL Hughley's page, and he posted like the what was really okay.
Wow.
I don't see you guys anymore. But that's weird.
Should I
don't even have the.
Should I pause it real quick? Or
yeah, go ahead and pause it.
Hold on. Yeah. So like for me, like last night I was reading comments, whatever, and I stumbled upon DL Hughley's page, whatever, and he had posted the truth essentially of where the movement came from, being in Turkey. And I assumed that people were like, "Oh man, that's messed up." I thought people would be like kind of empathetic. For some reason, I thought that. But then I was reading a lot of the comments, and I just want to read a few of them. Like this one guy said, he was like, "I ain't never seen a Turkish woman in a BLM protest." Then he inserted 4 laughing, crying emojis. I truly don't give a fuck. Arrest the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. And it's like, while I understand, it's like, it's so ironic. It's like you're saying like you want justice for Breonna Taylor, which we all do.
Yeah.
But you can't put that in the same comment because it doesn't.
Agreed, man.
Make sense.
That's contradictory.
Agreed. And like I think a lot of people, and rightfully so, are just angry and feeling like Black people have been ignored and not listened to for so long. That I get 100%. So it's like I think those people are the ones who are like, we haven't been listened to for so fucking long. We want our rights. We want to be heard first. Period. We're sick of being on the back burner. So I'm assuming that's where it's coming from, but it's still contradictory in the same sense.
But that's exactly where it's coming from.
It's still contradictory as hell in the same sense.
Those two things
make no sense.
But those two things can coexist.
Yeah.
Because it's 2 different countries. It's 2 different issues.
Exactly.
Like it's one thing that people caring about this atrocity that's going on in Turkey does not impose on what's happening on this justice that still needs to happen for Breonna Taylor.
Yeah. To me, in fact, if you care about Black Lives Matter or any other organization, then you're saying you care about all organizations, the people who have been oppressed for who knows how long. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's similar. It's
but it's not an organization, though.
No, I'm sorry. Movements is a better word. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, like, if you care about seeing one type of people stop being oppressed and like gain equality in society, I would think you would that's a shout out to like all like all other folks who are being oppressed for whatever silly reason, also gaining rights. You know what I'm saying?
And it's just a thing of if the issue is femicide, and granted she was not killed because she's a woman, she was left bleeding in her house to die because she was a Black woman, but she was not killed because she was a woman. She was not shot because she was a woman. That they're very much a very similar issue.
Yeah.
So
absolutely
these 2 things can coexist. But Adam, please, I'm sorry, Aaron, you were saying.
No. I think I might have interrupted Adam. I apologize.
I was gonna say, Adam, go ahead and for another some more bullshit. I'm just go ahead and make everybody mad.
Yeah. So I screenshotted 3 after that. I just couldn't take anymore because I was trying to go to sleep, and I was like, I need to go to sleep. But so this other one says, okay, excuse the placement of words. Okay, so she said, wasn't nothing wrong with women uplifting other women. To be honest, I like that as a concept better than the Turkish woman thing. No disrespect to those women, but come the fuck on. It's like it's like, okay, let me start by saying this. Just because you say no disrespect doesn't mean you're not disrespecting the people.
That's number one. That's number one, yeah.
And this was one of the comments I actually typed out a whole response. Where I was like, it's not worth my time. Even though I already put that much time into it, I was like, because I'm not in the mood for a back and forth. So I just I'm just gonna go to sleep. But the thing I was gonna say was along the lines was like, it doesn't matter if you like what the original the thing was. Like she was saying like the uplifting woman is better than what the Turkish woman we're talking about. I'm like, it doesn't matter what you like better. It's not for you. This isn't your thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if this makes you feel better or this. That's not the point of it. So I'm like, you don't get the right to say, I like what we're doing better. It's like,
to me, it's
that's the equivalent.
You care about other people and their rights or not?
Yeah, that's the equivalent.
And it's not. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's the equivalent of a person saying Black Lives Matter, and then someone responding by saying All Lives Matter. It's kind of the same thing. The All Lives Matter person saying we don't really like your thing, so we're going to change it to make me feel better. It's the same thing. It's crazy that people can't even see that what they're doing. It's crazy.
And the thing about that shit happens all the time. Sorry, because these thoughts keep like trying to jump out of my face, and I keep almost interrupting you. All lives matter. Blue lives matter. What was it? I've heard some people try to be like, sports lives matter. What? Like you just you can't take this phrase that has been met with so much vitriol and then try to make it work for you. Case in point. I told my girl we were talking about this on the podcast today, and she brought up something, so I'm not gonna act like this was my idea. Empowering Black women.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Sorry. No disrespect.
Yo,
that was perfect comedic timing.
Yo, that was good.
Be here all week.
She was like, she was like, you know what was a really good equivalent to this? Kaepernick kneeling, and then the Democrats getting that kente cloth and kneeling at the Capitol.
Yeah, that's true.
It's literally that thing of like, why do you think co-opting something that y'all refuse to acknowledge is going to work better for you?
Yeah. I don't know. Like Colin Kaepernick, man, like that dude, man, he changed the game. Like he really did. Like now I'm not saying anything changed. Unfortunately, nothing changed. But like people so I follow the Bears on Facebook or whatever. Like it doesn't matter what they post. It posts nothing about patriotism. It's literally about one of their players catching COVID-19. There's always going to be somebody in the comment section talking about standing for the flag. Like people can't get it out of their minds ever since he did what he did at this point, like 4 years ago. People can't even get it. It's like he forever affected American sports. Like regardless of now, like, I'm not saying anything changed, unfortunately, but it's just like he really did a number on these people, and it's just funny because he lives in their minds, and he's not even thinking about them. It's just it's insane to me.
Because the thing is, like nothing changed as far as the power structure or anything like that of sports, but he definitely changed a lot of minds. He changed a lot.
That's true.
A lot of perspective.
And even people who weren't willing to change, I think he at least made them look and like challenge themselves. That's why they came out so aggressive against the shit, because they were able to see some hypocrisy or some silliness about the way they were, about their opinions or their beliefs. Well, he challenged their beliefs for sure. I mean, whether they changed action-wise is another thing, but he challenged their beliefs for sure. Otherwise, they wouldn't have came out so fucking aggressive and like feeling threatened.
I mean, we talked about this in the last episode, but it's a thing of there are some people who are still vehemently against what he was doing because they refuse to believe what actually happened. That it had nothing. That him protesting the flag because of police violence had nothing to do with the troops, and it had nothing to do with the troops. It had nothing to do with disrespecting our military. I know that's the same thing, but
or country. Well, I just want to add this because like people will say he's disrespecting the troops, he's disrespecting the flag, he's disrespecting the national anthem. But the thing what people don't understand is like you can live in a place, you can love that place and still hold it to a high standard. And I feel like that's what he was doing. He's like, okay, if this is my country, this is what I require from the people that's supposedly in charge. This is what I require from authority figures. There's nothing wrong with holding people. That's like being in a relationship and you're saying like, okay, you're not going to treat me this way. You know, we're not going to be in this relationship and you're not going to treat me this way. It's the same thing. Yeah. And it's funny how people can't accept the fact that a guy was saying, hey, you can't treat us this way. And they freaked out. It was like, I don't think he was trying to disrespect anybody.
And that's the whole thing. Even when he almost was disrespectful by sitting, an actual soldier came to him and said, yo, you should kneel.
Yeah.
That's an important part to note, man. That's a very important part to note. I feel like that gets swept under the rug. Like
it does.
A soldier spoke to him. Let's cut all that bullshit about disrespecting the flag and the troops and shit. A soldier spoke to him about that shit and inspired that. That shit gets swept under the rug way too much in this argument, man.
Yeah. But even the other one, beyond the challenge accepted thing, I don't know what you all's timeline was. Like I briefly spoke about before about that whole Blackout Tuesday thing. In case you out there didn't know about this, if you were one of our listeners, that people posted their black square on IG. One, a lot of people trolling would post a black square and then put Black Lives hashtag Black Lives Matter, and that fucked up that whole hashtag in order to empower those voices that were supposed to be getting elevated. I've heard several famous figures talk about people coming at them for not posting the black square, and then they were like, "Oh, I only did it so people could leave me alone." Because I didn't want to appear like I didn't care, like I'm racist or anything like that. And you're like, that's still not the point. The point is like, no, you can go a day without promoting your brand or reviewing a product or putting on some makeup or something like that, and big up some people who the algorithm does not work for. What are y'all feelings and perspectives on that? Do you have any?
Well, for me, I didn't post the black square, and partly was because, well, to be honest, I don't participate in probably most of the challenges that pop up, and it's not like I'm being a rebel. That's not at all the reason. It's more so it's like I don't want to say if it doesn't resonate with me because the black square obviously resonated with me, but I didn't want it to be like, and I shouldn't even think about this, but I didn't want it to be like, oh, he's just doing it because, you know, everyone's doing it. And I'm not saying people were doing it because everyone was doing it. Although I'm sure there was a good section of Instagram people that were doing it just because everyone was doing it.
Right.
But for me, it's like the reason why I didn't do it though is because I feel like not that this matters at all and not that I've changed anything, but I feel like people that know me, people that follow me knows what like 60% of my content is. So I feel like I don't need like a day to do this because I'm always trying to inform people in this. So it's like that's why I didn't do it. Have nothing against people that did and really felt like they should have nothing against those people. But that's just why I didn't do it. But to talk about like famous people and influencers and like like the fact like I don't understand why someone would post something that they didn't want to post because they, like you said, they didn't want to be bothered about people saying, hey, why didn't you post the black square or something? It's just if you don't want to do it, just don't do it. I mean, or if you feel like Or if you feel like you're supporting in other ways, then that's fine. You know, keep supporting in the way that you support.
Right.
But you know,
but it seems to be this big thing with influencers and people who want to stay as far as internet cultural relevant. They need to stay. I get how this thing needs you to stay in front of people. It needs you to out of sight, out of mind seems to be like the plague as far as anybody is concerned, because we feel like if you don't see me for too long, you'll forget about me. And because there's always so much stuff constantly coming at you. And so because you could even get into influencers going to showing up at protests just to take photos and then bouncing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw
celebrities doing that too.
Yeah. I think it's a tough. I think that especially once you become an influencer, there's always going to be a section of people, and this is just. I mean, it's not even just specific to being an influencer. Once you become a public name or have something to sell at some point, or be successful or a celebrity, somebody's going to question your intentions whether you're genuine or not, no matter what you're fighting for. You know what I'm saying? Like no one, like you're going to be questioned no matter what. Yeah. I would imagine at that point, it's just a matter of like consistency for folks to like take you serious after that.
Yeah.
Like,
your actions are important because because for me, I shouldn't do this, but you know, like when you just stumble on someone's page, like, oh, let me see what this person posts. Like there's been times when I've seen like the black square, and that's literally the only thing on their feed and their stories. Nothing else revolves around, and that's okay. I'm not, you know, you don't have to be a warrior, you know, for me.
It's not. But
no, I don't mean it's what I'm saying is I'm not asking people to do anything for me, because I'm not expecting people to.
Oh yeah,
like,
no,
sorry. Me and Kirsten was talking about this the other day, and she was saying like how, you know, people aren't even really talking about, you know, and that's now when we say nobody, we realize there are still thousands, maybe millions of people are definitely talking about it, but it's not like in your face, like the George Floyd murder and execution, essentially. Like, it's like nobody's really talking about it. It's like, you know, you have, like, so you have definitely people protesting, but I think we've come to the conclusion that nothing's gonna change. And I was telling her that, and like she was like when George Floyd was first killed, and she was, you know, we were talking about it a lot, and like for me, I was very nonchalant, not about him dying, but nonchalant about the support the whole thing was getting, because like nothing's gonna change. I'm telling you, like we've seen this before, you know, and when the cop got arrested, like the next day or maybe that day, and she was like, you know, the cop got arrested. I'm like, you know, okay, and I'm like, you know, it's just, it doesn't. I don't care until there's a conviction. When they get convicted, and I need to know how many years they got too.
Right.
Because what people always forget, like George Zimmerman got arrested. He got arrested. I mean, a lot of those cops get arrested. That's nothing.
Anybody can get out on bail. Yeah.
Yeah, like people get arrested all the time. That's not a big deal. However, it is a start. You know, so I don't want to say that's not important, because obviously the cops that killed Breonna Taylor, you know, obviously they're not arrested. So I'm not dissing being arrested. I need to make that clear. But there are steps, and they all need to happen, and a lot of times they don't. So,
yeah, I personally, I'm still trying to get clearer about what the next steps and everything are, and I'm sure there are. Get your words out, Ishmael. There are programs that are legitimately informing and educating people on what the next steps are and the possibilities are for defunding and abolishing police, and defunding and abolishing the jail system. Because in my world, I'm like, sure, I'm with you. If they get arrested, that don't really mean shit to me, because, as you said, motherfuckers get arrested all the time. That don't mean nothing's ever gonna happen. And if they get convicted, we got to check them years and even if they do get convicted, are they getting put into gen pop? Or are they getting put into like some special minimum security ass prison?
If they get put in the gen pop, it's game over, yo.
Yeah.
It's game over.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so like
which I'm not necessarily against. I mean, I'm not necessarily against. They did some wild shit. It's like, well, it must be balanced in some way. You know? I mean,
it's like
I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying it. Who's to say how it's gonna be balanced, but it has to be balanced in some way.
Karma's
I mean, that whole case is just crazy though. It's like the whole the way they got the warrants was shady. Even like when they showed up at the house, there was literally a cop just shooting through the window.
Yeah,
like he hit like it was just reckless. Like, I mean, the fact that they're not in jail, even if she didn't die or was shot at all, they should still be in jail.
Absolutely.
You can't just go to somebody's house and start shooting in the window.
Exactly. It'd be nice. I'm sorry.
No, because it was bullet holes in the neighbor's house with kids inside. I'm like, that's reckless. So
it would be really nice to hear those officers like just be like, yeah, man, we fucked up. Damn, yo. And I'm not saying no. I'm not saying that's excusing anything. Hold on. I'm not saying that's excusing anything. I'm just saying it'd be nice to hear some officers be like, yo, like not trying to make excuses, just actually being like, yeah, we definitely took the wrong approach. We were tripping. Like that would be nice for some. I'm not saying they don't go to jail. I'm not saying they don't go to gym pop. I'm not saying they don't get what they deserve in any ways, any means. I'm saying it would also be nice to hear them be like, yo, we fucked up. We definitely shouldn't have done that. Like we agree things need to change. We should not have been able to afforded the privilege of not being arrested or not being questioned in the right way in the investigation, or even the privilege of being able to go and act like that somebody's house and then not really be worried about getting arrested.
Yeah.
I would love to hear them just be like, yeah, this shit was crazy. And just on a human being level, this shit should not be acceptable. Yeah. It's not fair. You know, like that would be big for me to hear cops come out and be like, but I mean, cops, a lot of the forces in general are like, they're like the biggest gang. So one or two of them have come out.
Fraternity.
One or two of them have come out, and then the whole police chief turned their back on them. It was like, they're fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm sure they're afraid of the good ones are afraid of coming out and losing their fucking job or who knows what else. Because this shit has happened. It's such a twisted cycle, man. It's a twisted cycle. This shit is ridiculous.
But then you get all these examples of I lost my thought trying to think of everything. You get these examples of like, I don't remember exactly where it was, but there was that police chief like yelling at a press conference, being like, they're treating us like animals. And they're like, yo, how the fuck y'all think y'all been treating the populace? Like, what the fuck is this?
About? Yeah, that was in New York City.
See, that sounds like somebody who doesn't feel like he does anything wrong. He's just like, well, they don't. It's always they're treating us like, fam, come on.
That's the thing. They never fucking.
Are you telling me you have not fucked up? You've never fucked up? Come on, bro.
Or even when they do shit like, we don't condone the actions of that officer, as if everything about their system and their training, etc., is not geared toward the shit that officer fucking did.
Yeah, which is whack. The only thing I will say is that I don't agree with, like, some people I've been in conversation with have actually told me to think all cops are fucked up, and I'm like, now that's like telling me all human beings are fucked up. That I can't get down with.
Yeah, I don't
on a human level. I can't get down with that.
Yeah, I don't believe all cops. I definitely don't believe all cops are bad people. That's just not true. I know that's not true.
Humanly possible. Yeah.
But what I do know is the way in which they are trained is incorrect. And this is actually, I have the story. Maybe I'll edit it out, but we'll see. So, as you know, I work at a dealership. Importantly, it's a Dodge dealership. Well, it's Chrysler, but Chrysler owns Dodge, so there's Dodge there. Anyway, so and a lot of cars are Dodge Chargers. I mean, a lot of cop cars are Dodge Chargers. So a lot of cops a lot of county rural police bring their cars to our dealership for maintenance. I'm probably gonna edit this out, but I need to tell the story.
I was like, as soon as you said the names, I was like, oh shit.
I'll edit.
Are we gonna get a DM?
We'll figure it out.
You get the cease and desist letter.
So this one day, this one day, I was driving this cop car to park it out back, and I looked over and there was a binder. Like, I wonder what's in this binder. So, so I park. so I park, and then I start flipping through these pages, whatever, and I come across it's like just random information, but there was like some training stuff in there. There was like it was just random, I guess. But there was this article that I stumbled upon, and I was like, and essentially it was about how to handle a situation when someone's filming you, because and I guess they call these people, the term for it's called an auditor. Apparently, I guess they have terms for it. So when someone's filming a cop, they're called an auditor. Okay, so
you breaking the mold right here, man.
Yo, continue. So I need this info. Shit, you got an inside look.
So like, and it's really interesting because it's like it was like maybe 4 or 5. It made like 4 or 5 pages, and I didn't read them there. I took pictures of every page, and I read them later because I was like, I gotta know what these people are being trained.
Yo, that's smart not to read them there. That's too much time to spend.
Yeah,
smart time. Get in and get out.
So, all right. So I'll try to be short. So essentially, the article was about like how do you handle a situation, and like some of the stuff was saying it was like, sometimes people are trying to provoke you so that you overreact. Sometimes, sometimes they misinterpret the law, and sometimes this was interesting. One point they made was like sometimes they know the law better than the cop. And it's funny that they put that bit of information. I'm like, the thing that came to mind is like, so if you know that there's people out there that know the law better than your officers, why don't you teach your officers better?
$1 million question.
Like that's not an admission that should be acceptable.
Right.
Like I feel like if you realize that, the next step should be, well, how do we get our officers trained as thoroughly as the auditor on the street with the cell phone? Like,
I'm incredibly sad that we have to edit this part out for that very question.
Right, I might not. I might edit like the counties and specifics, but I might.
That specific question needs to be heard. That specific statement needs to be heard, man.
But this was the most interesting part of it was, I think the title of this section was called like common misconceptions or something like that. And what the writer of this article, I was just probably a police officer, was saying was that this misconception that an officer has to state their name and their business essentially when you're approaching somebody. And I'm like, I don't know. That was weird. But what made it so weird is like apparently there was a case. I wish I knew it, but it was a case, and I think it happened in Ohio. It was like somebody versus somebody. And essentially in this case, the conclusion was a police officer has to tell the person their name and why, what you're doing. You can't just approach somebody.
Like why just stopping them or pulling them over, right?
That was the conclusion of the case. And even the writer said because of this case, police stations, police departments all over the country have adopted the fact that you got to state your name. And the guy said, however, this isn't necessarily the law. And that's where it ended though. And for me, I'm like, so you're telling me that this case that happened and this conclusion that happened, and you're telling me that police departments all over the country abide by this, but you're saying that you don't have to do it. Right. And you know what? That's fine if you want to word it like that. But the next step is you have to tell us what the actual law is. You can't just say that's not true.
You got to tell us why you feel that way. Why you feel that is the fact that it's not law. Yeah.
And if you're officers of the law, it's your duty to tell your officers in black and white, where is it written that is law or isn't. You can't just say that's not true.
Agreed.
So the whole article, to me, it felt very brainwashy. It felt like that's just how it felt to me reading it as an outsider. It felt like very like you're right and they're wrong, no matter what. Even if even if it's written somewhere, because I guess this case in Ohio, and I guess if you watch the video, I'll have what it's titled. If you're curious, but it just was a very interesting moment, I guess, for me. And I wish there was more in that book, because I went back like 3 days later, that car was still there. Like, I gotta know what else is in this book. So, but there was nothing else. Everything else was just like work. So it wasn't like anything like that. But like,
it was like lunch schedules and shit.
Yeah, just weird stuff that wasn't interesting.
Right.
He was like Chipotle or Qdoba. Which one?
Yo, you brought up something earlier, Aaron, that made me think. So it was about you don't believe that all cops are bad people, and you don't think all cops are bad. And I think what the argument is for the majority semantics. Okay. I don't think it's a thing that people consider all cops bad people, because people are fallible.
Okay, that would be like insane. That would be insane.
But all cops are bad. It's not all cops are bad people. It's all cops are bad, because for you to function inside of that institution that does more evil than it ever does good, you as a cop are bad, but you as a person are not inherently bad. But you as a practitioner of that, in that same way, what is it? I used to joke around with an old friend of mine, because we would just talk about like horrible shit that exists in the world, and I was like, "Yo, somewhere during World War II, someone thought Hitler was hilarious."
I feel bad, because I've actually made the joke that like I feel like this somebody who's that crazy, and like I don't even know what a good word outside of crazy, or what is a good word to like call
evil,
him? Like evil, evil, conniving, or just like he really thought delusional. That's a good word.
Yeah,
he really thought he was doing the right thing. That's obviously insane, but it's possible to be insane and have a good sense of humor at the same time.
And the things like that, of course, that's not big
I know
up.
how that sounds. I know how that
It's like
sounds.
it's not embracing Hitler in any way, but I'm sure there's someone in Hitler's camp that wasn't laughing because they were like, if I don't laugh, he's gonna shoot me in the head.
Exactly,
they were like,
exactly.
Yo, my nigga Adolf be cracking jokes.
Because like, yeah, man. Some of the funniest jokes are the ones that are like the most hurtful sometimes, or like really like are rude and crazy, I think.
But I mean,
I think sometimes they're actually funny.
No, yeah, sure.
It's fucked up. It's fucked up, no doubt. It's like you can't take that part out of it. I'm just saying.
Right. And that's not the point I'm making right now, but I do agree with that. And so I say all that to say it's a thing of, by all means, those people probably do good shit from time to time. They feed their families. They're probably, giving their church tithes and feeding the community and all that kind of shit. And then they hate niggas. Like it's like, and so it's a thing of, are you a
I'm sweating in the shirt already, dog.
And so it's the thing of, are you a bad person completely? Probably not, because everyone does good and everyone does bad. That's just a thing, because people are fallible. But by being a cop, you are bad, because all cops are bad. And so I think it's a bit of semantics, because it's almost like separating the work from the person.
I can see what you're saying. Okay, so quick question, and then I'm gonna go on. Quick question though is, well, several questions came to mind, but so where I'm coming from, when I hear that, I say, okay, I see where you're coming from, no doubt about it. It's like you can't argue. It's hard to argue that, at least where somebody's coming from, like why they hold that position. I see that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, if I don't think that every situation dealing with cops are guaranteed to end in a cop doing something illegal or rude or unfair or breaking the law. The same with the person who's the citizen. Not every situation is guaranteed to them actually being breaking the law. Some of them were just were profiled unfairly. They weren't always breaking the law. They weren't always doing shit. So I feel the same way with cops. because I don't believe that every time they're breaking a law or misusing their power, just the same way the citizens aren't actually breaking the law. They're being profiled unfairly or just mistaken for whatever reason.
Sure.
So if you go into any one of those situations with the belief and the assumption that all cops are bad because they are cops, whether they are good people or not, how can you be unbiased in that situation? It's impossible to be unbiased when you've already made the conclusion about the individual that you're dealing with. It's hard to see clearly or fairly of the other human being and allow for something to even end up fruitful or halfway. You see what I'm saying? That's the part.
And let me be clear that by me opposing any thought or offering the argument, anything like that, I'm not arguing for this side. I'm saying this is what I've been made privy to. I'm not even saying that this is technically my belief.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily going against attacking your belief. I was just saying like that's what comes to mind when I hear that idea.
And you know, so let me respond to that. It's the thing of, I think either I think you are posing the opposite of what this sentiment says. Is that you, as we've talked about before, I think you implicitly believe like, oh, if a cop shows up, that is their intent is to de-escalate or help to solve or remedy the situation and whatnot. And
no,
because that's no, and that's like because you're saying like give them the nuance or give them the benefit of the doubt that they may be a good person. And if my entire experience of police has been getting either falsely arrested, getting beat up, getting profiled, getting killed in my watching death happen in my community,
yeah.
Regardless of what the circumstances of each situation involved, for me to have deducted that reasoning, I can't blame that person.
Not at all. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
and I do think that for majority of people to feel that way, and by majority I just mean more than 50% of the U.S. populace that is not white or not white and poor.
Yeah.
Right. To have those feelings, because I've met plenty old poor white folks who have very similar situations and feelings toward police as us.
Yeah.
And so it's a thing of, if that is the common deduction, like the common like mind state, not mind state, the common like perception of this institution, and you as a person are actively a part of that institution,
I guess you have to ask, like, why are people even wanting to be cops then? It's like, when you know the institution is the way it is, what makes you want to be a cop? That's one of my first questions. Like, why would you like to become a cop? But okay, so let's go. And side note, I was watching some YouTube video where some dude was saying that some cop in Pasadena, California, was making upwards of $300,000. I had never heard of that kind of cop salary in my life. What the fuck is he doing to get that much money? How many tickets is this motherfucker? Is he hitting his phone every goddamn year? No, this is crazy, bro.
I heard someone say to me recently where like cops, okay, like they have a salary, whatever the salary is, but there's some weird way, there's some possibility that they can make more money. I wish I knew. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but
that shit is
I've never heard 300,000. And I've definitely never heard that. But somebody was telling me recently that like, and I if this isn't true, by all means, somebody let me know. But like some guy was telling me that like a cop couldn't make six figures, because of this reason and that reason. I would like to look it up because I don't know. But to answer your question, and this, I don't know if this is just my answer to your question. You're saying what would make someone want to be a cop if there's such this bad perception? Well, what Josh said is a reason. It's a job, benefits.
Yeah.
Like for me, I was never a cop, but I was in the military, and the absolute only reason I ever joined the military because I wanted a job and I wanted to move out of my parents' house. That's it. I didn't want to serve my country. I was not trying to be patriotic. I wasn't trying to become part of something bigger than myself. I just wanted to move out of my parents' house. That's it.
Yeah.
But that's one reason. Another reason, I really think some people look at it as, I want to be powerful. I want to have authority over people.
I agree.
I think that's also, I think people I think like the job thing is like I said, already said, like, because of a job, but not only because of a job, because it's a relatively easy job to get.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah. It's like, because for one, you sign up, you complete a police academy that takes less time to finish than becoming a licensed barber, and they give you
crazy, man.
A deadly weapon.
Yeah,
crazy.
They give you a deadly weapon, and they give you several other weapons that they consider less than deadly. That's what they consider it, even though they can be deadly. You can beat somebody to death with a baton. You can taser someone to death.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they call them less than lethal, but most of them you can still kill somebody if you really wanted to.
If years of kung fu movies have shown me anything can be a weapon.
Yeah.
So if you get someone, I saw Jet Li kill a man with a chopstick, and so you're telling me
deadly.
You're telling me that a baton
hit him in that esophagus.
Yeah. Them batons, those those extendable batons that they whip out. They don't look like much, but
I'm sure them bitches hurt.
I've actually used one, not on a person. Well, it was on a person, but they were wearing like a padded. They were wearing like a padded suit or whatever. Them things are serious. Like it's like just it's like I said, they don't look like much like the old school like the clubs they used to have back in the day. But they're definitely solid. Like, they're not as flimsy as they look, and they got some weight to them.
They look like a pointer from an old classroom.
Yeah, exactly. But they're solid though.
They're very solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you had to like look up, like, all right, I did beat somebody's ass.
A really quick comment to what Jack said earlier, though, just so I'm not sounding like some fool out here. I do agree with you about like when a lot of people who are making these conclusions that's their only experience of cops. How can you disagree with that? Of course, I see why they came with that conclusion for sure. I think it's been conditioned. You see the same shit over and over and over. You begin to, what I'm saying is, I don't think it's necessarily the clearest. I think more information is needed. Like at that point, the only thing you've been clear about is that the whole organization needs a fucking change completely. It needs a full transformation. You have not been clear about the human being. You've been clear. So what, I guess it is going to what you're saying. You've only been clear about the organization that needs to be changed, and the fact that whether you're good or bad, quote unquote, good or bad person, you putting up air quotes for folks who don't fuck with YouTube, even though we don't. It's unfortunate, even though that people who are quote unquote good or bad still flourish or still reap those privileged benefits of being the cop within the system. That's for sure. I would agree with that. You can't argue with that. I'm sure somebody in Fox News will, but so to me, you can't argue with that. I'm just saying you can only make a conclusion about the organization. You can't make a conclusion about the person. Is what I'm like.
Yeah, it's
hard for me to like the person trumps everything to me first, and then it's like, all right. Then you have all these reasons why somebody did this, because that once you figure out how they came to where they are, that makes a lot more sense of why they chose the path they did and maybe did all the fucked up shit. But for sure, somebody who's only seeing that, and there's plenty of people, like you said, black and white, who are in poverty, or in a what's another way to say it? In survival mode is a good way to say it. That's a condition that's a condition they're in. It's like that's all they're seeing. Of course, they're sick of seeing that shit. I'm sick of seeing that shit for sure. But the conclusion, the only one you can fairly make, is that the organization itself needs to be transformed completely. But I feel like people go further than that and make a conclusion about the person. It's hard not to. Once you see this type of person, for certain biases to not come up and be like, oh shit, because of their, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. I'm like, you still got to call a spade a spade. Yeah. Of course, they're flourishing and like they're reaping benefits, good or bad or whatever, and the organization needs to be changed, but we're all still human. And in that sense, we're all, even the person who's making the assumption or making the conclusion, you have to question where they came from with the conclusion they're making. You have to question their fallibility. I don't even know that's a fucking word, Joe. But,
I'm pretty sure that's a word.
I'm just saying you have to question that too, and that's hard for me to set. Like I also consider that as well. I consider who I'm talking to and how how deep their biases run. Also, is what I'm saying. You have to. I think that's fair. You have to call it spade. And if you're going to give anybody a well-rounded analysis, you have to discuss the good and bad, not just the people we're talking about, the people who are talking also. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I didn't mean to go into it that much, but
no, you good.
But like that's just the honest, that's my informally honest opinion.
Yeah, that's one perspective. And
I just wanted to make it clear that I'm not like in any way condoning the crazy shit that's going on. Just what I'm saying, just because I don't
know that it could even be interpreted.
I'm understanding for sure people who are making these conclusions because that's all they're fucking seeing. How can you argue with that?
Yeah, and beyond seeing, it's the experience. It's a thing of what was it? At the around the genesis of the majority of these protests happening out here. What was it? Was going to one protest and was talking to some young homies who had just came from a different one, and of course, peaceful protests and all that kind of stuff. They were standing in the front, and out of nowhere, cops would just come up and start beating them with their batons. Nothing incited. All they've been doing is just yelling and doing what peaceful protests do. But what'll happen is that cops will come in inciting shit, and you got to ask yourself why.
Absolutely.
If nothing happened, why would the person? Why are cops following protests? Like, why are you trailing protests or trying to contain them? Because even the couple I've went to, like, when you're in caravans or whatnot, they got to block the sides because the cops will try to circle that protest and make it to shut it down.
Man.
And I'm like, even if you're doing that or trying to block the way, because sometimes protests, I've heard like protests got to get cleared by the city, which is really contradictory to me. Like, you got to ask permission to protest.
Yeah,
I never understood that. That's crazy
because they kind of treat it like parades. I'm not saying that was what necessarily happened, but I know that does happen in some ways. And I'm like, yo, you're the ones being protested, and why we ask for permission to?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And again, not saying that was any of the ones that I've that have happened or been to, but I know that is a thing that does kind of happen. Is sometimes with these kind of situations, the city still wants you to get it sanctioned, and you're like, that's really contradictory to the concept of protesting. But I'm like, why are you following along this protest as if you really about to do some shit when you're being the one protested, or you are the one being protested rather? It really just makes no sense to me, and you see them be on bullshit.
Yeah.
And or even on another accord, you see the shit with the Breonna Taylor case of them talking about no mishaps happened. They filed that she suffered no injuries. Like,
yo, what? I didn't even know that part.
On the accident report, they put that she suffered no injuries, and that she was a victim of the scene.
She died. How? What?
And I'm telling you, the whole thing is just like, when if organizations would allow you to exist in this and pay you, and like,
the most frustrating part of me, I'm sorry to interrupt, man. I just want to say this.
No, you're good.
Part to me is like the investigation. I said this in another previous episode. The most frustrating part is that they allowed somebody pretty much in their crew, in their camp, to like do the investigation as if that shit was going to be in any way fair. I was listening to some of those questions. The motherfucker is pretty much asking and answering the questions for him, like baiting him along to be innocent. That was the craziest thing. I mean, he's asking the most. So yeah, you pretty much were there under only fair and equal circumstances. You had everybody's. You were thinking about everybody, right? And you just wanted to uphold the law and keep everybody safe. And he's like, "Oh yeah, of course. That was exactly
But
the most ridiculous. Yeah.
But flip that shit, and then you go to the exonerated 5, right? Yeah. Where they were. Them 5 boys were beat into lying on each other, and they didn't even know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And even beat that little boy up to tell their story. And what was it? He wasn't even there for them all to get arrested.
Yeah, he just went with his friend or something.
He went with his friend because he was like, your mom gonna kick my ass if I let you go alone. So let me look out for you. And he ended up being in jail the longest out of all of them because he was 16. So he was tried as an adult.
Yeah.
How do y'all feel about that whole thing too, being 16 and tried as an adult? Is it like, I mean,
it's insane.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely insane.
That's crazy.
You literally can't do anything at 16. How can you be tried as an adult?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been some kids who've gone around and like killed animals and ended up killing their friends or whatever. It's done some crazy shit before.
But I mean,
like, grew up to be serial killers. Maybe they should have been tried.
But I mean, as far as the federal government is concerned, legally, you can't buy cigarettes. You can't vote. In some southern states, you can get married and whatever. But like
craziness, yo.
Federally, you're not an adult. So how can you get tried as one?
Yeah. Now, of course, I do believe it's a case by case thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Like if a guy kills 39 people, you're gonna go to the big boy prison. Now, now maybe depending on the person's age, maybe they shouldn't just be like straight up general population is 14-year-old. I mean, obviously, he should be probably by himself to protect him.
Homie finna get passed around.
But no,
like a hot cake, yo.
That kid got sent to Rikers.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's nuts, man.
And honestly, the only thing I know about that case is what I know about the case. Like I never watched the Netflix thing.
Yo, I did, and I cried so hard. And the thing is, I had to binge it because I knew halfway into the first. I remember it so vaguely from when we were kids, but I was like, if I stop this, I'm never turning this back on.
I feel you.
I completely get people not watching it because it is such a traumatic experience. Yeah, like even watching that is a traumatic experience.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Doc. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying because I did watch the Khalif Browder documentary. If you're watching or listening, don't know who that is. That's the guy that he got arrested for like stealing a backpack or something, and it turns out he didn't steal the backpack, but he went to jail. I think he was in prison for like almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years, yeah.
And he was in jail for almost 3 years, but never actually had a trial.
Went to trial, yeah.
Yeah, he never actually got convicted of anything, but he couldn't afford to post bail essentially. So he stayed in prison, got beat up, tortured, solitary confinement, got out, and he killed himself from probably depression.
Yeah,
Jesus. Yeah. How do you argue? How can you argue with see? You experience shit like that over and over and over, and you see shit like that over and over and over. You hear about it over and over. Now, how the fuck? Of course, somebody has a certain viewpoint of the cops. Like, of course, they're going through this shit. Is ridiculous. The whole system.
And
how can you argue that? Damn.
Yeah, and to me, that's way deeper than just cops. That's a whole system thing.
That's the entire
fucked up system, yo.
The fact that this dude, first of all, the fact that he got arrested for stealing a backpack.
Yes, there should be no prison time. Man. How come we can't just find a motherfucker for stealing?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
why?
Like,
prison is
how much?
crazy.
How much was the bag? $17 at Walmart.
Exactly.
Okay, you owe the city of New York $17. Go on with your day.
I will pay that shit for him. From now on, when somebody does some shit like that, I'll pay. If it's $30 and under, I'll pay with my own money to keep him out of fucking prison. I'll pay with my own fucking money. That's ridiculous.
It's like that case, that whole story, it went way further than it ever should have. Like, he should have never. Right. Even if, like, say he goes to jail, say, okay, you're gonna spend a night in jail for stealing the backpack. Okay, spend your night, go home. But the fact that he was in jail for 3 years, it's like,
and not even just jail, prison.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was jail. It was jail, wasn't
okay,
it?
Okay.
And that was what made it so bizarre. Like because he never actually got sentenced to go to prison.
Go to prison, yeah.
That's crazy.
So,
but
yeah.
And you have so many cases like that. I'm sorry, Adam.
No, I was just gonna say I watched that and it was so hard to watch. Like,
yeah,
it was just heartbreaking. Like truly heartbreaking. That's why I can't.
It is.
Eventually, I'm gonna watch this. When they see us. It's like I've been building up the courage for at this point, like almost 2 years to watch this.
Yeah,
like
and the thing about it is, take your time. Like it really is a thing of I'm telling you, I was so clear halfway into the first episode. I was like, oh my god, it's the first episode. It's really the first two and the last episode. I think it's 5 parts, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And the last part is forgive us because I don't remember the names right now. I definitely did at the time. I think his name was Corey.
I heard Corey a lot. I think Corey was the guy, the 16-year-old kid.
The 16-year-old kid, yeah. So the last episode follows him, and here I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this other part that came to me. Here's the issue. Here's the shit that's craziest about Corey's situation. Only reason Corey got out was because the dude that actually killed the woman went and admitted to it. Because he saw that the dude who killed the woman that they all got arrested for, saw that Corey was in prison, met him, and was like, "Oh shit!" Like, oh man, and he felt bad for him because he knew that was like 12 years prior or something like that. And so then he goes, admits to everything, and that's why they all got it. All of the rest of them had gotten out. Okay. They all had the felony on their record. And so I'm like, yo, so you telling me if Home Dude had never come forward, Corey would have never gotten out. They all still would have had that shit on their record. Our current president would have been validated for that bullshit ass article that he full page article that he took out for their arrest and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then you have all these situations like now with legal weed and the countless number of people who are still in prison for non-violent drug offenses, especially for weed, while white folks get rich off of it.
Look, I'm trying to figure out like how hard would it be to just be like, all right, anybody who was in jail for a non-violent offense, particularly marijuana, can go. How hard is that to just be like, all right, y'all can go? Yeah. I don't know why it's so hard.
They need that labor.
Are we making it seem like it's some crazy process to just be like, it was marijuana, it's illegal now under certain circumstances, y'all good to go?
Well, technically it wouldn't be hard, but financially it would hurt a lot of businesses.
Yeah. It's just like, damn, just let them fucking.
Well, that's the whole thing.
It's just crazy to hear.
Prison is legal slavery, so that's the big thing that they got going on. Of course, the what was it? The '94 crime bill, the war on drugs, the 3-strike rule, mandatory minimums, all of those things.
They're really quick though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick. Sorry to. I feel like I've been interrupting all fucking podcasts, and I apologize, man.
You good?
But like, there's some people in there, like serial killers and shit, who I'm cool if they work for free. I'm cool if you work for free, yo. Pay this motherfucker 75 cents. You murdered 64 people. And you preyed on them. Look, as a human being, we all look. I don't know what your path was. I don't know what the karma, all of that. There's too many variables. But the fact is, you prayed and you murdered who knows how many folks, and you did it again and again and again. There's more to the story on the human being level for sure. But just practically, I'm okay if it's your job to fold towels or whatever, or like, you know what I'm saying, in the fucking prison. I'm okay. I'm just saying. Free. I mean, the people who went to prison, who were unfairly placed in prison, there's no question. There's no question they shouldn't be there. Period. There's no question they shouldn't be working for free or 50 cents or whatever they get paid. Very minimal. no question. But I mean, there's some motherfuckers who was on a practical level pretty fucking devious, dog. Pretty devious. Pretty devious. I mean,
yeah.
Fucking I'm okay if the Unabomber works for free, is what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Look, I'm okay.
Like
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Josh. I know you had a point, and I just
you did.
I didn't mean to throw you off and shit.
It's all good. It's gone now.
Man, I'm done. I'm sorry.
More if I can get it back. All that to say, I in real life I probably am on board with the whole abolish all of it, because clearly one abolish jails because it's legal slavery. It needs to be a reformatted system that, by all means, still put away, murderers, serial killers, rapists, pedophiles, etc. Like, yes, they deserve to be on whatever farm they get put on with some kind of rehabilitation practices and whatnot, very distant from society where they can be a danger to others. But I do not think that large corporations should be able to employ private prisons. I do not think that I definitely do not think that all these non-violent drug offenders should still be in prison while motherfuckers are making billions of dollars off of the shit that they got put away for.
That's
and
crazy.
The shit that white kids get away with all the fucking time, because weed in a white neighborhood is, that's some, that kids will be kids. But weed in black and brown neighborhoods is all of a sudden now a death sentence.
The people who were put in jail for weed should be able to get out and work for companies or build their own companies and make money off of that shit.
And that's
what they were doing, but they should be able to do it in a legal way now.
But that's what's been a major argument, was that people who got put away for weed should be able to get out and get all of the accommodations in order to be able to start dispensaries. But of course, they're not going to fucking do that.
That dispensary thing, even people that are not in jail, they can't start a dispensary. Like,
even beyond dispensaries, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying I don't know all of the details, but okay, I'm gonna say this. Please watch the Patriot Act on Netflix. There's an episode called something along the lines like the weed industry is rigged or something like that.
Keep talking, I'll get it.
Yeah, that episode is essentially he's saying that, there's a lot of people say, I want to start a dispensary, and people think it's as easy as just starting a dispensary. But what has happened is all of these humongous companies exist, and essentially there's 5 or 6 companies, and they kind of run the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Of course, there's separate dispensaries here and out. There's a ton of dispensaries all over the place, especially in Colorado and
Washington and shit.
It's called the legal marijuana industry is rigged.
Yeah, that episode, it's it explains it way better than I just did.
Let me tell you how
it's just crazy.
Yeah. Let me tell you how advanced Colorado is in the drug game. Colorado's been pushing weed so proficiently at this point. They've decriminalized mushrooms, and they're trying to figure out how to get that on the same level.
They should, mushrooms in maybe 3 or 4 countries. I just researched this. That's why I know this. Maybe 3 or 4 countries, mushrooms are legal. I've actually read that mushrooms are actually safer for you than weed is.
Really? As long as they ain't driving under the hallucinogen.
Of course. I'm saying
some of them will take it overboard.
Now, of course, there are mushrooms out there that you should never take. Because they're not all the same. There's different strains, just like weed, there's different strains, blah, blah, blah. But essentially they're saying that under the right circumstances, mushrooms can be safer for you and less harmful for you than weed. And weed, from our understanding, isn't really that harmful. Now, if you're smoking 5 blunts a day every day, then that's probably not good for you.
I'm sure there's somebody out there like 5. Pussy.
No, exactly. You're probably right. Actually, I know you're right. Actually,
but no, I do feel you on that. It's one of those things. I'll never be that person. I don't think. As far as like indulging in any drug content to that level, like I don't know that I could function that way.
If I find a dealer, I'm definitely trying mushrooms. Because the thing is,
go ahead. I'll say my shit after.
Like, I mean, just like anything, like obviously you probably don't want to take a cup full. Like I think if you if you just work, you just figure out the perfect amount, you probably, you're probably good. But there's legitimate studies out there that prove that mushrooms can be, they like in movies, in movies they exaggerate.
They exaggerate,
like, you're gonna walk around and demons are gonna attack you. It's like, but in actuality, it's not really like that. I've never taken them, but from
did y'all watch that
research
that doc about psychedelics on Netflix?
Which one? Which one?
Keep talking. I get it.
Okay. Well, I have taken mushrooms.
Oh,
and
oh shit.
Yeah, but I didn't have no. So and that's so like Adam was saying, there are different strands or strains. I think only some are psychedelic or hallucinogen. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Hallucinogenics. Damn, I'm gonna get it eventually. The ones I took, I just had like a crazy buzz. And I think I ate 2 of them, 2 big ones, maybe the size of my ear, actually.
Damn.
And then I had 3 in my teeth that I was sipping also. And
I don't know why it sounds like you say you had 3 in your teeth, and I was
like, I thought you
said 2. Oh, the name of the before you finish, I'm sorry. The name of the movie is "Have a Good Trip: Adventures in Psychedelics."
Okay, I'm gonna check it out for sure.
Yeah.
The most I experienced was just a crazy. It was a buzz far beyond what I've had with marijuana. I was sitting on a couch for like 2 hours, and my stomach, no joke, I felt like I was sinking into the couch. So maybe I was feeling more than for 2 hours. I felt like I was sinking into the couch, and the time flew by too. I didn't even realize.
That's awesome. That's what I need. I need to feel sinking. Like that's
using it out.
yeah. For me, like that's how I felt. That's how I felt. Actually, the first time I ever got high was actually in Vegas. Actually, the first time I got drunk was actually in Vegas too. It's very interesting.
Sin City, man, it be happening.
because obviously I didn't smoke when we were kids, and I joined the military and I couldn't smoke, so I didn't even get high for the first time until I was like, what, 30? I was 30, and it was edibles, which was a bad idea because I didn't know. So that was my first high experience with edibles in Vegas. But I remember, and then we can obviously got to finish up, but I remember it was like I ate some gummies, whatever, and we were walking on the strip, and I'm like, man, this week I don't even feel nothing, and then just out of nowhere it just hit. I was like, well, luckily we were actually walking into the hotel at that moment, so it was cool. But I just remember just started laughing. We was walking behind this couple, and I just started laughing at the couple, and I just kept laughing at them. Then we get up to the room, and I just lay down, and that's what I felt. I felt like I was just sinking into the bed eventually. Now I'm sure it wasn't extreme as mushrooms, or anything, but it was. I remember that, and I threw on what's his name, Ricky Gervais, whatever. I remember watching one of his stand-up specials.
I don't know why. I don't know why I thought you were about to say you threw off some Ruben Studdard.
Like, man, I was sorry in 2004. Yo, what is it? What's up?
I was just about to say, like, speaking of edibles, and sorry to like keep making this shit longer. I know we gotta. I know.
We have to wrap.
Just like, yo, this was recent. This was like as of like a month ago. I called myself bold, and I said, I know this is an edible, and I had just been drinking a couple brewskis. I didn't eat much, and I had the whole chocolate chip cookie. 20 minutes later, I'm vomiting. I'm projectile vomiting in the car on the way home, uncontrollably.
Dang.
So I didn't realize, and I didn't realize how quick, or I guess it's more potent, right? Or it just gets into your bloodstream quicker. Edibles.
It takes longer.
Oh, it takes longer.
It takes longer, but it is more potent.
Oh, more potent. Okay, so I didn't understand science. Obviously, I was advised to take just a corner of the cookie, and I was like, I'm gonna take the whole thing, and I made the big. So anybody listening out there, don't make the same mistake. It was, and my girl was just laughing the whole drive home. And I'm like, what is 80 miles an hour?
What is it about edibles that they wait until you talk shit about them?
Oh man. Yo, talk about it. Talk about it. Yo, when talking shit goes so wrong. When talking shit goes so wrong.
You'll be sitting there for like a good hour and a half. You're like, yo, I don't know if this shit is working, man. These shits is weak. Boom, boom, boom. Like it's just like, I was waiting on you, motherfucker. I was waiting on you at the door.
Hit you with that 1-2 punch and this game over, man.
Oh man. Well, I'm pretty sure there's several things in here that we started to unpack and probably didn't finish. But did I just say well? Dang, I was trying to episode without saying well. But we want to thank y'all for listening again. As always, we just love having these kind of conversations. They jump around, but we'll get back around to it at some point, I'm sure. Shout out to Marco. We miss you. We love you, bro. We'll catch you on the next one. And if you have any topics you want us to talk about, anything you want to joke about, because there's always hilarious things happening today, like Terry Crews saying things that he thinks are smart, but actually make the acronym of coon. So, so you're like, why does that exist? And what was that thing? I sent it to you, Adam. Someone called him Jim Crow, but it was
Spelled GYM.
That shit was fucking genius. But by all means, if you got anything you want to talk about, if you want to tell us that you enjoy us, that you hate us, that you're very neutral about the whole thing, you can write a review on Apple Podcasts. You can send us comments in any of our posts, or you can always go the traditional route and write us. Poke down at the bottom, right? Write us at informallyyhonestpodcast@gmail.com. You can be like how I talk to my partner every time she tells me 15 minutes of thoughts about every episode that I do encourage her to say anyway. And I go, you know what you can do? It's write us at informallyyhonestpodcast@gmail.com. So we always appreciate y'all for listening. Please tell a friend. Get involved in the conversation. We want y'all to be more involved in the conversation. So the more that you give us, the more we can give back to you. And otherwise, we'll just keep on talking. And our bond is going to stay strong regardless. But we just want to invite y'all in on it. So much love to you. Appreciate you. We are 4 brothers that pride ourselves on having very critical, candid, and an array of conversations rooted in being forthright, vulnerable, and most of all, honest. You see that middle finger that almost went up, right? Right. Much love. Peace.
Peace out.
Peace, y'all. Thanks for listening and or watching.
Go to YouTube.
You motherfuckers.
Why you gotta call out?
I'm sorry. 1, 2, 10. Merry Christmas.
They can try to take, but they can't erase.